Now I gotta ride or die.
So guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to pretty much a laid back chat, life update, channel update, maybe slight car update. I did leave you guys with a few questions the other day. Now this isn't really a Q&A. I'd just like to pull up questions that you guys may be asking in comment sections on videos, on YouTube and social media, you know, Facebook, Instagram and stuff. We'll start with Instagram though. I'm not going to shout out people's names, but I appreciate every single person, mainly because I just want to chat to you guys more than anything. I don't really ever stop and actually physically talk to you guys in this sense, in this setting where we're sort of a bit more laid back, no crazy editing, no rushing around doing car stuff. So it's always nice to update you guys as to what's actually going on in my personal life, I think, especially now we've moved the channel sort of towards daily content. Obviously a lot more happens in, you know, the day-to-day activities of life, you know, being a dad, you know, getting cars, doing up cars, you know, eating, going to the gym, like all this stuff. It's all sometimes stuff I don't necessarily show you guys. So updating you guys here and there is always sort of key, especially on a channel like this where we're, you know, pumping out quite a lot of content now. I will say now, start the video, if you do want to see any more of the daily stuff that I do, mainly incorporating maybe some gym related stuff. Not that I'm the biggest gym person going, I just really want to change the way I look and my mindset and health and all this sort of stuff. But if you do want to see that part of stuff, maybe a bit more home life, not necessarily my family, because I try not to, you know, I try to shy away from showing family life and stuff because that's more personally my life, if that makes sense. I don't think you guys are really here to see that part. But again, let me know below. I'd love to know your thoughts on that first question to you guys maybe is what more do you want to see on a daily basis. But we'll jump right in with a couple of questions. First one being, get a Cosy lad. Now, a lot of Cosworth talk in the previous couple of videos that I've actually done. My main concern is people don't understand the values of things. I think they appreciate the values, but they don't understand how much stuff actually is. If you're talking Sierra Cosworth, yeah, I could probably, if we're talking the Series 1 RS Turbo behind me, could probably get out of that and get into a Sierra Cosworth relatively easy. I think you'd get quite a nice one for probably what this car is worth. Not that I'm willing to do that, but I do think you could probably do that, but I don't think I could personally go from this car into a Sierra Cosworth. Now, if we're talking Escort Cosworth, probably yes, but as I've said in the past, they're double the price of this car sat behind me, Series 1. They are 60, 70, 80, 90,000 pounds, and regardless of how well people do, you've still got to try and find that money, or at least someone that's going to give you that asset on finance, on a loan, whatever it is. And that's just something that I'm not in the position to do. This car is expensive enough for something that's a toy in a sense. It's scary knowing that this car is this value and they're going up and stuff. So having maybe twice the price, maybe I cut, you know, say I sold the M4 and this, and we went in on a on an Escort Cosworth, that probably could work and I could probably do it, but I don't think that's the way we want to go. Swapping 2 for 1, I don't think you guys would really appreciate just a Escort Cosworth sat in the garage. I probably wouldn't do a lot to, mainly because of values. You don't really want to necessarily do a lot other than OEM stuff, which is a bit of a shame. But I do feel like, yes, I would love to own a Cosworth at one point, but selling this to fund one isn't the plan. Maybe one day in the future, this, you know, channel does really, really well and the views go mad, and then, you know, the first thing I'll go and do is buy something that you guys want me to see on the channel. So that will probably be on the list, but we'll see. We'll see how the daily content goes, shall we? What's the craziest car you reviewed and why is it a surprise to you? Probably the first K20 swapped or supercharged, turbocharged Honda. It was mental to me to think that, yes, these cars are coming out of the factory with 200 horsepower, say in a Type R, and then putting 450 horsepower through the thing. It was literally like, I remember shooting, it was in Scotland, a red one. I put my foot down on a dual carriageway in third gear, and it just literally, the speedo and the revs, wah, bah, 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 and I was just like, what is this thing? This is actually madness. So that was the biggest surprise, mainly because I'd never appreciated a car like that. I love the Honda stuff. I love the Honda scene. I'm a really big Honda fan. Never really owned one though, which is a shame, but it was something that I was like, wow, I get why people are doing this. This is such a fantastic product that someone's created. And, you know, the amount you can get out of, say, a K20 block is insane. So yeah, that was probably, I was probably quite, not really, I wasn't really ready for it, if I'm honest. And when I put my foot down, I was like, wow, I get why everyone went on about these and why people were doing it. So I'd say that was up there with probably one of the best feelings for me, because as a Honda fan, never really experienced a K20 that was tuned, or maybe a K20 in an EG, or a super or turbocharged K20. That was definitely up there with one of the craziest things I've probably stepped in and driven early on in the channel. Really, really shocked me. What's your next project going to be? If I'm honest, this is how I see it. The car prices at the moment are so out of control, it's hard for me to really delegate a budget for a car. When I bought the M4, it was offered to me at the right price, so I knew that I could get into it and get out of it and it would be okay. That's why that car's going to go. If I then use that money on something that is its height in price, so say you went and bought an 8V RS3, right? Not that I'm going to do that because I've already down an RS3 and I like an 8V, but it's not really something that I want at the moment. If I went and bought one of them, you're at your highest, you're going to buy that car. I don't know about you guys, but I hate losing money on a car, especially, and being real with you guys, I hate financing a car that's losing money, because every payment is a loss, in my opinion. Especially as a business, you don't want to be doing that, especially if you guys then don't really understand like the car or understand why I've got it. It's then hard for me to justify that car being in my possession. The M4 is okay at the moment. Yes, I've told you guys multiple times it is going to go in the not so distant future. We have a few things to tick off the list on it first, but there is the idea that I don't want to buy into something that's going down in price, because I would never want to tell you guys, look, I've lost 10 grand on this car, I've got to sell it because it's not making enough content. I never want to be in that position. I want to be in the position that I give you guys the content that you deserve, regardless of how much cars are, especially in depreciation. I don't want a car depreciating and me having to force feed you content on it and then find out that you don't even like it. And I don't want to be in that position, because I wouldn't want to do that to you. I'd rather go and finance up or get a loan for an older car and do that up, rather than really delving into maybe something financed and getting easier. It's easy to get finance at the end of the day. If your finances are right, your credit score and all that sort of stuff, you can pretty much get anything you like these days. Any finance company is willing to pretty much give anything away if you've got the right deposit. And yeah, I just feel like that's the way I wouldn't. So yeah, going back to the question, sort of pointing that out, the next car to go is the M4, we know that, but replacing that is the struggle, because I want to go for a Toyota Aristo, but the prices they're 3 or 4 times the amount I bought my for 6 years ago now. So it's a bit of a hard pill to swallow for me, because I really want to find a nice one, and you're not going to find a nice one cheap. Chasers are well dear, like 20 grand, 25 grand, so I'm not really going to get one of them. Don't really want to go out and finance something else, and I don't really want to bore you guys with a 2 grand build that you're not really into. It's something that I'm juggling in my head, whether we really go in on an older Japanese car as a daily, so some big 4-door thing, or we just call off for a minute, watch the car prices, and be very real with you guys and say, you know what, I'm not financing, I'm not loaning anything out, because car prices are out of control at the moment. I had a big lust for an R34 4-door, lowered, chrome wheels, all this really nice BN kit on it. But even an automatic non-turbo one is 12 grand. I think that's ludicrous money for one of them. Considering I got offered like an R34 2-door GTT manual turbo for like 11 grand when I started this channel, and I didn't have the money for it, but that's just the way it is. So yeah, project-wise, we shall see, because once I know, you know. Does that make sense? I mean, you know, I know. Any experience with Saxo VTS? Seen a couple that are still cheap, feeling a little tempted? Yes! Go back on the channel, I bought a VTS, enjoyed it, sold it to buy my 106 GTI, because that's the right thing to do, because I wanted a 106. I liked the idea of a VTS, but it was, for me, the cheaper way to get into the 16 valve French game. Only paid 250 quid for it. You're not really, if anyone's got there for 250 quid, I'll buy it. But you're not really going to find a VTS for 250 quid. You're not really going to find a 106 GTI for under £1,000 or £1,000, what I'll pay for mine. Yeah, bit of a funny market at the moment for French stuff. Buy one if you can. Keep saying this because they're going up. If money was no object, what Ford would you go for? Hard one. Probably some sort of Shelby or Boss 60s Mustang all day long. Appreciate this stuff. Anybody that knows me knows American cars are top tier. So if it's not one of them, I'm not too sure. GT40 maybe? That's sort of where I would go with it. Thoughts on possibly turbo on a ST150? Yeah, good idea. I think that they're very expensive to get power out of, so turbocharging might be the way to go. I shot a 200 horsepower one at some point 2-3 years ago, and yeah, he paid a lot of money to naturally aspirate it to 200 horsepower, so probably turboing it might be the way. Depends if you're forging and that. Depends on money, really, more than anything, and how much you want to spend on that investment and how much you actually get out the other side. If you get a turbo on it and it does 180 horsepower, you won't be very happy, will you? But yeah, I think turbocharging might be the way to go, if not supercharging. Best place to buy a Momo steering wheel? I would just say any reputable aftermarket dealer. Anybody that is certified Momo. Don't buy one off eBay. Don't buy what, well, you can, but make sure it's from Demon Tweaks or whoever is selling it. I wouldn't necessarily, this is my personal opinion, you want my personal opinion, don't buy second-hand steering wheel. Don't buy one off Alibaba, don't buy one off eBay. Buy a real one, because if the inevitable happens, not the inevitable, the worst thing happens, say, and you're in a shunt of some sort, you do not want that steering wheel going wrong. That's me being a 32-year-old dad there. Don't buy a cheap steering wheel. Buy one that is proper, pay the money out, because at the end of the day, that's the first thing that's going to go in your face when it all goes wrong. So yeah, make sure you buy a real one. I bought a red suede OMP steering wheel once. Thought it was genuine off someone I knew, got it home, fitted it onto the car, really happy, drove it around for a few weeks, noticed the suede was going a bit funny on it, and I started thinking, gosh, flexing a lot. And then yeah, one day I just got in it and went like that, and it just moved, and I was just like, I'm taking that straight out of the car, I ain't having that. So yeah, that's the most dad thing I'm going to probably say at the moment. Would you ever get an ST150 and modify it? Mate, I had an ST150 for the channel. We bought it cheap. We put a clutch in it. We cleaned it up. It took me 3 days. It had cement in the back. And yeah, we traded it on. That was the whole idea of the ST150 that was on the channel. So yeah, already done it. Would probably go for a 182, 172 if I ever were to go down that route of modifying a small car like that. Already done sort of the others that I've wanted to do. Would you consider buying a Ford Capri? A lot of Ford related content going on the questions. Probably not. Wasn't a fan of the Capri. I'm a Mustang guy, if I'm honest. I appreciate a Capri driven one, understand it, but would still just go for any Mustang, if I'm honest. That's me though. Don't get triggered. I like American cars, Japanese cars, and German cars. The Capri for me was never really, I get it, I understand what it is, but in the 60s, the Mustang, even into the 70s maybe, that's where I am if you were to go for something like that. Would you buy a Sierra Cosworth after the RS Turbo? We've already covered this. Yeah, basically, wouldn't sell this to buy one of them, although I love them, honestly. I couldn't let this go for one of those. It would have to be for an Escort Cosworth, but they're not the same money. How's the little one doing, dude? Yes, really good. Love dad life. Best thing I've ever done with my life, honestly. Like, it's one of those things. If you're a new dad, if you're a new parent out there, a new mother, whatever, you'll know the feeling I'm going through on a daily basis. She turns 1 next week, which is fantastic, and yeah, I'm actually away for it. We're going on our first plane, which is awesome. So yeah, been working really, really hard to take her away for her first birthday. I think that's a really nice staple in her life to sort of go and just enjoy a different country. I know she won't remember it, don't get me wrong, but it'd just be nice for pictures with it and stuff. Not nice for pictures, but you know what I'm saying. Like, you want to get away, you want to, you know, go to a different place, you want to see some sun, all this sort of stuff. So yeah, really excited to do that. But yeah, absolutely loving it. Got any plans with the RS Turbo? So we've just finished the engine bay overhaul. In my opinion, I don't really want to do anything else this year. We have the Cadillac to really get on with. Monetary, I don't want to put any more money into this year. I want to crack on with the Cadillac, so we're nearly there. You'll see content of that in the not so distant future. The M4 will, you know, get its last little bits. You know, if we're talking about money and plans for stuff, M4 will go and we'll build something else. So this can stay as is. I'm really happy with it driving, you know, throughout the summer. Then at the end of the year, I think the plan, and don't hold me to this, but the plan is to assess the back rear spats where they sit. They start to rot a little bit. This one's on its way out, so I want to capture that, cut it all off and redo it all, and then repaint the floor, just a little bits and bobs. Nothing crazy, because I want this to be a drivable car. I don't want it to be mint. I know that sounds really stupid, but I don't want this to be mint because I want to drive it. I want to get in it, key start, go, as much as I can. So yeah, that's the plan. Hey do you still speak to Josh? Miss him on the channel. We went to Japan and just sort of lose touch, if I'm honest. Yeah, that was pretty much it. We went to Japan, we did a lot of really cool stuff, and you just, through COVID and that, you just lost touch. So that's sort of where that went, unfortunately. That's just the way life is sometimes. Do you have a standout model so far? Oh, on the 118 scale, it would have to be the EK9, the yellow one. That's the most expensive model I've ever bought, and probably worth still the most. That isn't a reason to like it the most, but it's the hardest one to get hold of. There's only 300 in existence, I think. So yeah, that for me is definitely my favourite. Would you ever get a Mark II Escort? Yes, I would love a Mark II Escort. Big arches on it, rally lights, some sort of simple 2-litre Pinto lump in the front, maybe a turbocharger, but they're expensive. Yes, you can get a relatively rough one for, you know, cheapish, but unfortunately, if I want the one I want, it's going to have to be like this. It's going to have to be nice to start with, drivable project, but you can still enjoy it with some sort of engine in it, with rally lights and all this sort of stuff on it. But until one of those comes up, and I've got a space for one, and all the other projects are done, and I've ticked a Japanese car off the list, another German car off the list, probably another American car off the list, a Mark II will probably just keep going up in price, and we'll never be able to afford one, which is a shame. Would love if you did a rate on my car. Just bear in mind I'm doing a 180 conversion. I think it's a Mark III Golf. I had a well, it's a 3.5 Cabriolet for my second car. Absolutely, it was fantastic, but I never drove it because I broke it straight away. Decked it, wheels, all that sort of stuff. So I appreciate the Mark III, don't get me wrong. I would love to, well, my friend had one with a 180 on it, never really got around to shooting it, never got around to really doing anything with it, and then it blew up. So that was that. But I'd love to see it, mate. I'd love to see it. 1.8 turbo in a Mark III is a shout. What's your favourite part about the M4? The drivability. When you're on it, in that car, it feels like no other car. The turn is phenomenal, the back end coming out a little bit, squirreling, the noise, the sensation. Like, as a driver's car, it can't be matched for the price, in my opinion. RS3s aren't like that, AMG stuff's more expensive. You know, your older stuff's older, so you haven't got the comfort. I think that's still one of the best cars I'm going to own in that sector. Not like this sector, not as in the best ever, but as a driving machine, unreal. Fantastic car, absolutely insane. Shame I don't use it for its intended purpose as much. School run and all that sort of stuff. Car you'd like to smoke around in when you're retired? Bentley Continental GT convertible, that was easy. A big GT car with the roof down is all I want, or a massive American car with the roof down. Either of those. The dream driveway when I'm retired is, yes, you've got all these cars, that'd be fancy and a thing, but the driveway would be some big 60s convertible and a big W12 convertible Bentley. Like the newest one out, if they still do, or a V8 one, actually. I do a V8 one now. I'd have one of them. All black, roof down, lovely. Go South France, whatever. Not that I've ever been there, but it'd be quite nice. What made you fall in love with the S1? So, let's go back a bit, shall we? Because I'm assuming the person that's owning that, or asking that, didn't see the content on this car. So I actually drove this car a couple of times before I bought it for the channel. I drove it from Jason's to Rich's. I drove it for a solid video. I'd been around it. I knew the car. So I wouldn't say, right, that I fell in love with Series 1s. I fell in love with that car. Not Series 1s as a whole. I didn't grow up with them. I didn't grow up with the idea that I would always own one. Like some people seem to think, I didn't grow up. I grew around 106 GTIs, R5 turbos, Evo 4s, like stuff like that. Popping and banging, max power body kits. Max power body kit on a Corsa C. That's my era. This is before my era. I fell in love with this exact car because I'd driven it. I knew how nice it was to drive. I knew it was reliable. I knew the last owner had taken care of it. I knew that this was just a nice example of the car that I wanted, which is this car. I didn't want, and I wasn't looking for a Series 1. I was actually looking for an RS Turbo Series 2. That's my era, Series 2. But this one came up, it was nice. I'd driven it multiple times. I got in touch with the owner, we were chatting, and yeah, this is the point where I think some people don't understand. He was able to relieve his possession of this car because it wasn't for sale. It was for sale to the right person. There is a difference between going out with money and just chucking it at a car because it's a status symbol. People want it, whatever it is. This literally fell into place because I was able to own it because I liked this car, not because I wanted one for years and years. And I know that sounds silly, but it was literally one of those cars that I was like, mate, I've driven that and I like it. I like the way it drives. I like the way it feels. I appreciate what it is. And at the end of the day, I wasn't looking broadly for Series 1s. I was looking for a nice fast forward. Maybe a Series 2 was at the top of the list because that is my era, a red or a grey one, either way, white one maybe. But this came up and I pounced on it because I knew the car. I said, mate, I can't believe you're selling that. He's like, well, it's not really for sale if I'm honest, but I would sell it to you for this amount. And I was like, okay, it's not mad cheap, don't get me wrong, but enough for me to think, right, I think it's time for me to own this car. Not necessarily because my dad had one because he didn't, or my mates had one when they were young, or anything like that. I didn't grow up around these cars. I just wanted this one. Yes, it's got me into the Ford scene a little bit more than I was, but I just wanted this car. I really wanted this car. So if a Series 2 had come up at the same time, in budget, really nice, I'd have probably gone for that because that's what I wanted. I was after the car I wanted, not necessarily, oh, I've always wanted a Series 1, I'm going to find one. It wasn't like that. So yeah, I hope that clears something up. What is your option on a Mark 5 Golf GTI? Now we're talking. So, my era is 106 GTIs, Mark 5 Golf GTIs, 182s, all that sort of stuff. Now, I have seen a price increase in really nice Mark 5 Golf GTIs, and it's a shame because I would love to own one at some point. I wanted a white one, 2-door with the cloth, not leather, I wanted cloth. Just a nice example. I would still like that car, but they're increasing. An edition 30 is increasing. The Pirelli edition, if people know, if you don't know, Pirelli edition, have a look at it on Google. Always wanted one of them in yellow. I think they only did them in a 4-door, would love a 2-door one of them. Absolutely love them. If you can get yourself into one of them for not a lot of money, you are winning because they are phenomenal cars. They're still safe, they're still nice, still sound good, they're still fast, they're capable. I think, in my personal opinion, the Golf came up in the Mark 5, and when I was young, I couldn't afford one. So I always go back and look at the things you can afford. And now they're affordable. I'd really like to own one at some point, but at the moment, there's not looking like there's going to be room or space in the garage. I'd love to bring one to the channel, but maybe it's something you guys would or wouldn't like. I'm not too sure. Would you ever get a rear-wheel drive Escort? Yeah, would buy a Mark II in a heartbeat, but I'd have other cars at the same time. What's it like having your car of your dreams? My dream car is the Cadillac, so for me it's like the biggest achievement. Again, if you guys don't know, I sold the car to fund the channel and bought it back a couple of years ago now. And yeah, the rebuild on that is coming, really excited for it. And yeah, I'm gonna cruise around constantly in that car. I cannot wait. Literally, I need to find somewhere big to keep it though, that's the only thing. When it is done, I'm gonna be like, right, where am I gonna put it now? 'Cause it's 19 foot long, 7 foot wide, if you guys didn't know. RS Turbo says, more videos of the Series 1, please. Of course, we can do that. Let me know below what more videos you want to see of the Series 1. Let's have a look. What is the best car you've owned? Cadillac 1966 Coupe de Ville. That is my favourite car and my best car, if that makes any sense. That is the one for me. Lastly, we'll go to a few that have popped up on Instagram. Do you think it's possible to ship your fabulous FYD merch to Ireland? Yes, we do international shipping. You just click down everywhere else on the postage screen bit, drop down menu, and it will be sent to you. There is a blanket cost across the world. So yes, I made that possible. So FYDapparel.com, link is in the description. Would you go to any car meets on the UK mainland? I'm Isle of Wight based, so yes, I would always like to get along to as many car shows and meets and stuff, but having a little family, doing daily stuff, sometimes it is hard to venture out. I will be at Players Classic though, in my Cadillac. That is happening, touch wood. That is happening. Even if I have to trailer the friggin' thing there with no engine in it, because I haven't got the parts ready yet, not anyone else's fault but my own. Yeah, hopefully we can get that car there, and hopefully I can see you guys there. That'd be really cool. Which car are you considering buying for the channel next? That's the last question. Going back, I'm going to watch the market. I really want a white Toyota Aristo. Badly. I want to manual swap it. I want to put a screamer pipe on it. I want to put a big turbo on it, single turbo. I want to make it luxurious inside. I want to deck it on wheels, BN Sports kit, and slide it around and enjoy it on a daily basis. That's what I really want. But it's hard when a lot of the content I do is Ford based. A lot of the content I do don't know what a Toyota Aristo is, which is a huge shame. So sometimes I wouldn't want to elapse in the videos that you guys see and you enjoy because I want to buy a car. I'd never try and buy a car for content, don't get me wrong. I have done in the past, and it's a big regret of mine that I shouldn't do that. I should buy what I like, and if you like it, that's cool. If not, there will be another creator out there that's buying something that you like. I believe in that. I think that's the right way to tackle a channel like this. That's where I'd like to go. Prices are out of control, so do you half the budget and say, right, instead of spending X amount, you buy a cheaper daily, and we go in and build something that's more price orientated. Yes, you would still have to spend money on the car, don't get me wrong, but I'd never want to necessarily buy something cheap, not buy an Aristo, and then still spend Aristo money doing it up. Do you know what I'm saying? So yeah, leave a comment below if you've got to this point in the video. Thank you so much for watching, but leave a comment below. Do you want to see another Toyota Aristo on this channel? I do. I feel like in the next couple of years, you will not find a nice one. They are becoming unobtainable. They're becoming expensive. And for me, I'd like a newer daily, yes, but I really, really love a white Toyota Aristo. I need to get one out of my system. So we'll see in the next couple of months what the prices are doing. If we can maybe import one for a company, that would be fantastic, and do the importing process. I'd love to do that on the channel. And yeah, once the M4's gone, we can sort of decide how much money we've got to play with as well. What we can really do with that car. Companies that can manual swap it. I need to find all these things out before I do it, because I don't want to buy something and say, I'm going to do all this and it's going to be a 500-600 horsepower manual swapped 2JZ single turbo, and it doesn't happen because I can't find the right people, or the parts are expensive, or whatever's going on. So we're going to leave you with that, guys. Question to you guys: what do you actually want to see? I'm not going to buy another Ford, we'll point that out. Ford content is enough on this channel. I like Japanese cars, American cars, German cars. There has to be something blanket across that, but I really, really want, because Chasers are so expensive, I'd love to get another Toyota Aristo. Not that I had one on YouTube before, but I'd like one to do up, like Hurt from Hoonigan, his one. Manual, turbo, GS body, but it would be an Aristo body. Yeah, we'll see. I'd love to do it though, mate. Honestly, I'd love to do it. Anyway, we'll leave it at that. Thank you so much for watching. Again, if you did get to this point, thank you so much. This channel is my life. I am trying to document as much as I can on a daily basis, showing you guys what's going on. And it is the hardest I've ever worked on YouTube. So if you've got to this point, honestly, thank you so much. You have no idea how much it means to me to actually get this far in YouTube space. Yeah, it's fantastic. So thank you so much for watching, guys. We'll see you tomorrow.